Why are fair and equal not always the same when it comes to estate planning? This is one of the most important conversations I have with families, and it's one that can prevent a lot of conflict later. Because when people start thinking about their estate plan, the default approach is often, I want everything divided equally. And that makes sense. Equal feels clean, it feels simple, feels like it avoids problems. But here's what I've seen over time: equal is not always fair. Let me explain what I mean. Every family is different. Children have different circumstances, different needs, and different relationships with their parents. For example, one child may have provided significant care over the years. They may have stopped working so that they could give that care. Another may live out of state and hasn't been as involved day to day. One child may be financially stable, another may be struggling. Now, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, but I'm saying that equal may not always reflect what you believe is fair. And where this becomes an issue is when those decisions aren't clearly explained. I've seen situations where a parent made a really thoughtful decision that made sense to them, but they didn't communicate it. So when the plan is carried out, the children are left trying to understand why things were done that way. And without context, it can feel unfair, even if there was a very good reason behind it. Now, here's where conflict can come in. If one child receives more than another and there's no explanation, it can create questions. It can create hurt feelings. And sometimes it can create lasting tension, not because the decision was wrong, but because it wasn't understood. Now, compare that to a situation where the plan is clear and intentional. The decisions are documented, and in some cases, the reasoning is communicated ahead of time. Now, even if things aren't equal, there's clarity. And that makes a big difference because people may not always agree, but they're more likely to understand. And understanding reduces conflict. So when you're thinking about your plan, it's worth asking yourself this question: am I trying to be equal or am I trying to be fair? And if those two things are different in your situation, how can I make sure that's clearly communicated? Because estate planning is not just about dividing assets. It's about making decisions that reflect your values and making sure those decisions are understood. That's what helps keep families aligned, even when things aren't perfectly equal.